Hey guys, how's it going? This is some notes here for East Asia. This is the physical geo that we kind of already talked about, and then we'll proceed to the human geo. But this is a very important part of the world, arguably one of the most important regions, based on the fact that Japan and China are major players in the global economy, and the Korean Peninsula is always an interesting place, given the rhetoric and activities of North Korea. So it's a fantastic place, a fascinating place to talk about, and we're just kind of touch the surface here. So make sure you pay attention and be ready for any kind of quiz. Section 1, East Asia, this is Chapter 27. China, Japan, Mongolia, Taiwan, North and South Korea make up the countries of East Asia. Obviously, in our project right now, we've kind of expanded it a little bit to encompass other areas, mostly so we can have more things to discuss and write about. Stretches from the western provinces of China all the way to the east coast of Japan. Includes mountains, plateaus, cold climates, warm climates, Pacific waters. It has a variety of climates, a variety of water temperatures, types, things like that. Natural barriers have limited people's access and movement from one place to the other, and has increased isolation from other places. Here's our map. You can see China right here in the pink, the most physically dominating landform of the area. Mongolia above it. The Korean Peninsula over here with North Korea, South Korea, Japan, all the little islands of Japan, the archipelago. Taiwan down here, which is always in a conflict with China. It's mostly your East Asia. Now, some of us included Vietnam in this area down here for our project. That's okay. But just know that's kind of the major area. We're talking about East Asia. We're talking about these specific countries. Landforms, mountains and plateaus of the area. We've already talked about this a little bit. Again, pronunciation. I will probably mess up a few of these, so I apologize. But I'm only human. The Kunlun Mountains, located in the western part of China, the source of two great rivers. We already talked about this last week in the stamp sheet. The Yellow River, the Huanghe, or the Yangtze, also known as the Changjiang River. The Kunlun Shandy Mountains, located in the southeastern, eastern part of China, kind of divides it north and south. You have the Plateau of Tibet, the Tari Pindi Basin in western China, the Taklamakan Desert, which is very little populated, not many people there, and the Gobi, which is one of the largest deserts in the world. Covers more than 500,000 square miles, larger than Texas and California combined. It's in the northern part of China up into Mongolia. Then you have the two plains, the Manchurian Plain and the North China Plain. Major landforms of East Asia. Here's some pictures. The Kunlun Mountains on the top left, the Plateau of Tibet down here, the Gobi, and the Changjiang River, the Yangtze River. The peninsulas of the area, there are a lot of peninsulas. The coast of China features several different peninsulas. Shandong Peninsula, Lezhou, to name a couple. Several major port cities along the coastline of China, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and the other two that are listed there. The Korean Peninsula to China's east, southeast contains the independent nations of North and South Korea, which we'll get into later in better detail. Islands, the continental shelf, which is a submerged border of the continent, contains a number of islands. This isolation has permitted the development of different parts of these countries. Different countries allow them to be more secure and more peaceful because isolation has kept them from the other places. They form great trading partnerships and economies there. The islands of China include Hainan and part of Hong Kong, which has long been a major harbor of the world. Hong Kong used to be a British colony back in the day, but returned to China in 1997. Hong Kong kind of works separately from the rest of China. Smaller nations of East Asia include the different islands of Japan and Taiwan, which is an issue with Taiwan and China off and on. Here is a roadside picture of Hong Kong. You can see how packed it is, tight roads, buildings everywhere, advertisements. A major city. The river systems, the two big ones, the Yellow and the Yangtze. Uh, Yellow starts up there in the Kula Mountains, winds east 3,000 miles till it gets to the Yellow Sea. Gets its name from the silt, the colorization of the silt in the river, and causes terrible floods throughout the year. The Yangtze River, longest in Asia, flows 3,900 miles from Tibet to the East China Sea, major trade route, also prone to flooding. Zhejiang flows eastward to southeast China, joins the other rivers and goes to the South China Sea. And the Yulijiang, a border between North Korea and China. 1950 Chinese troops entered Korean War by crossing this river and attacking the UN forces. Resources, the different land types and forests. The resources are unevenly distributed throughout East Asia due to its massive size and the location of different places and the isolation of some. The mountains in East Asia mean limited agricultural opportunities because it's so mountainous. The population of China is concentrated on the east coast, on the east side of the country, where the river valleys allow highly productive land. So parts of it are hilly, you can't do much. Other parts are not, you can do a lot. China, Japan, Taiwan, and North and South Korea have forest resources. Japan tries to conserve their forest by importing timber from other parts of the world. So that's their conservation measure there. Mineral and energy resources in China, the big deal is petroleum and coal. Natural gas have large reserves of these items in China. Self-sufficient for much of history, meaning they relied on themselves only. Mineral resources include iron ore, lead, zinc, copper, manganese, and stuff like that. North and South Korea, large coal reserves. The minerals include tungsten, gold, and silver. Obviously, we don't know much about the stuff that comes out of there because they don't tell a lot nor do they trade a lot with others. Japan, large deposits of coal, lead, silver, but they have a shortage of it, which makes them viable in the trade market. Water resources, China has those huge long river systems that provide crop irrigation, hydroelectric power, and transportation to much of the country. They built a three-gorge dam to help control flooding and harness electricity. We always talk about the massive amounts of electricity that get pumped out of that thing because of the large dam built. Japan, one of the largest fishing industries in the world. Obviously, there are a bunch of islands. Provide huge amounts of seafood to the world. So they do catch a lot and trade a lot of fish to other parts of the world. If you ever watch whale wars on Animal Planet, they also tend to kill whales. Legally, illegally, no one knows. It's a fantastic show. Anyway, that's chapter 27. That's the first section. Hope you enjoy it. Peace.